Feel free, of course, please unmute yourself if you have anything to say. While I gab on for a moment. Oh, somebody brought me a stuffed hedgehog. Thank you. I have a strap today. We're going to use it. You're going to use something like a strap or a scarf. If you have a yoga block, if you have something that you use like a yoga block, it could be useful at some point, but that won't be quite as necessary. I just like to set up on a pillow because it's easier on my hips, as most of us who are here know. So in hopefully like a little bit better news for most of us, we're sitting here in the beginning of November, where in the US we've just learned that the next president is probably, as it stands, Joe Biden and Vice President Harris. And for a lot of us, that's like kind of really good news because we're kind of on edge about which direction that's going in. And I know a lot of people.
April, I'm having a really hard time understanding your words.
Oh,
so
okay.
there's something with the volume that's not working for me.
Thank you for letting me know, because I should check that and make sure that I'm
still. Now it's perfect.
Now it's good.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Well, it's good up here, and it was bad back there. I'm gonna change this. Is this better back here? Is this okay? Okay. All good? Excellent. Thank you. Okay. Thank you for being my sound check, because of course I have no idea back there. I know a lot of people who are like really upset that we're still in this situation where we have to be that worried about it, and we have to, think about like folks who are not feeling so excited about the election results and how they're going to respond. And we're like, well, how do we deal with that? How do we manage going forward into what comes next? Because there's always something that comes next. We don't live in a bubble. We don't live instance by instance. And what comes next is words from Angela Davis. You have to act as if it were possible to radically transform the world, and you have to do it all of the time. It's like if you want to clean your house and you want to have a clean house, you go and clean it up. And then like a couple hours later, it's dirty again because you didn't keep up with those good habits of keeping things tidy, keeping things organized. If we say like, oh, I want to get much healthier, you can't like eat a salad and then go through the drive-through the next day. We take breaks, we take adaptations and time off, and our energy into something needs to ebb and flow because we need a recovery. But you have to be dedicated to these things in order to see that big impact over time. Like, I can't just wear the mask sometimes out in public to protect my neighbors. I have to wear the mask all of the time out in public to protect my neighbors and my community. And this comes into yoga in that it is tapas. It is that continuous application of heat and pressure and intensity. That doesn't mean that we don't take rest time for ourselves in and of ourselves. It doesn't mean that we don't stop and breathe and go gently into our intentions at times. It means that we are constantly attentive to those intentions, constantly acting as if it were possible to radically transform the world, to radically transform ourselves for the good of each other. So we're going to repeat a lot of poses today. We're going to repeat a lot of actions, just continuing to come back to it, sometimes with different intentions, sometimes with different angles of the body. And we're going to continue to do this just to kind of build up that recognition in ourselves that it is worthwhile to continue to come back to things over and over and over again so that we can build up that intensity and that heat. Mr. Iyengar said it's never the same pose twice. So then we also have the practice of not letting ourselves get bored with this repetition, but coming at it again and again, because it's going to be different every time, even during the same 1 hour practice. So go ahead and take your index finger and your thumb together. We'll start with face brushing. Come to the center of your forehead, brush outwards towards your temples a few times. Coming to the sides of your nose, brushing outwards towards your temples. Starting at the temples and brushing down towards your chin. And then going from the sides of the nose down to your chin along your laugh lines. Taking your fingertips back and behind your ears, finding the soft spots down there, working upwards towards the bony spots, and then lifting upwards from that bony space. Continuing this lift of your spine as you release your hands down into your lap. Notice whether it seems more intuitive to let the palms be open or to be a little bit more turned inwards. Let's find whatever seems most relevant to you. Perhaps you set an intention for your practice, something that you would like to focus on, some radical transformation that you would like to see for yourself in the next hour, week, years. If you are able to come back to that intention at any point in your practice, checking in with the actions and the intensity you're bringing to your practice and see if you are in line with that intention. If you are in line with that transformation. Take another deep breath in through your nose. Big exhale through the mouth. Again, like that. For 3 ohms. And begin to open your eyes. I'm gonna send, if you're seated up on something soft and squishy, a blanket or a pillow or something, feel free to stay there. It can help so that it will relax your pelvis a little bit further forward. So scooch more towards the front of that cushion if you're on it, if you're in that space, and take your right leg out in front of you. And it could be bent. Doesn't have to be much intensity here. We just want to relax into and find what kind of flexibility is in the hamstring today. So my left leg is folded in just in a way that's comfortable to me. Your foot could be way far out in front of you. Thank you. We'll go play with your hedgehog. I know. Very good. Very good. And just take another 3 or so breaths, just relaxing into whatever space is there. And then start to walk your hands back. So I've got the left leg in. I'm going to fold the right leg in. I'll just let these legs fall in. They can be closer, they can be a little further apart. Go with whatever feels good in your hips. I'm just going to take a little twist over towards the left side. Let your belly soften when you exhale. One more exhale. And then release the twist. I'm going to take the legs around so that you have the right leg folded and the left leg forward, and you might adjust the flesh and the way that you're sitting and leave this leg nice and relaxed. Let your back be relaxed, let your breath be relaxed, and start to come forward towards your leg. It doesn't matter at all how far you get at this point. We're just opening up whatever space might already be there. It's kind of just taking a survey of the body and the hamstrings at this point today. One more full breath in, softening as you exhale. And start to bring yourself back up. You're just going to tuck the feet over towards the left side, so nothing specific, just whatever feels good in your hips. Sometimes having the legs closer will feel better if your hips are feeling tender. That's why I offer that, because we're just going to let it be nice and easy, rotating and softening the belly, twisting over towards the right side. Feel the backs of your ears still gently lifting up. One more round of breath. And relax your twist. You're going to take that pillow. If you are seated up on anything, go ahead and move it off to your side. And then coming down onto your back, you're going to take the strap with you. Just going to lay ourselves down, knees bent, feet on the floor. Take that strap up above your head. And I want to bring your hands a little bit wider than your shoulders, so you've got some space. You can even wrap your hands up at the ends of the strap so you don't have to use your fingers quite as much. Let your elbows be a little bit bent and wrap your elbows towards your thighs. And then it's up to you. You could maybe just lift your toes up off the ground to have a little bit of stimulation in your core muscles. If you're feeling a little bit spicier today, you might lift the feet off the ground so your shins are parallel with the ceiling. It's a little bit more intense in the core. We're working more in the upper body. The lower body is just for bonus here, so it's up to you how much you want to do. You want to try to keep the elbows pointed towards your thighs or the ceiling, depending on where your hands are at. Because on your next inhale, you're going to reach the strap towards the wall behind you. Don't worry about getting it close to the floor. Keep the elbows pointed up and then bring the hands back up above your face. Inhale, reach the hands to the wall behind you. Exhale, hands float up above the face. If having the legs up was too much intensity for you, go ahead and put your feet back down. Just try to lift your toes up. So that might look more like this. Cool, I still feel it. There's still things going on. Keeping the belly wrapped in towards the spine. Let's say 2 more from where you're at. Remember, reaching to the wall behind, not necessarily bringing the hands towards the floor. Next time you take the strap up, go ahead and release your feet down, release your toes down, unwind your hands. And so now we're going to take the strap and loop it around the bottom of the right foot, wrap up your hands, leave your left leg bent to start off with. Even if you are able to get the left leg straighter, leave it bent so that you can really focus on straightening your right leg. So before we were really relaxed about this folding in towards the body, now we're going to start to get a little bit more heated now that we've got the core fired up. Now start to wrap your elbows down towards your thighs so you feel your collarbones opening up a bit more. Keeping your heart opening and lifting upwards towards your toes. And then if it's a part of your practice to start straightening the left leg, you might move the left foot a little bit further away or start to straight-ish the left leg. If you feel that left leg getting mostly straight, and it's fine if the right foot has to get a lot further from you, but if the left leg gets pretty straight or totally straight, can you push out through the soles of both feet and feel your heart opening up as your collarbones melt down? Take your time with this. It doesn't have to get all the way there right away. Maybe you've got about 2 more breaths, and if your bottom leg doesn't get straight, who cares? Stay where you're at. Stay where you can breathe. When you finish that exhale, kind of let your left leg be relaxed. Maybe give it a little bounce. Maybe you bend it again. You're going to take both ends of the strap into your left hand, turn the toes out to the right on the right foot, and then move your heel about 6 or 8 inches over towards the left. So if I put my right hand on my right hip, I can really feel how it's getting into that outside line. I maybe use my hand to push my hip down. One more full round of breath. Take the strap back up. You're going to release the strap from your foot, bring the legs in, tie myself in knots here, and then come back down into the center. So we can work through to the other side. You'll take the strap around the bottom of the left foot, work on getting that leg real straight, feeling the sole of the foot press out. Notice my leg isn't trying to get in really close towards my torso. I can do that, but I really just want to focus on the leg being straight. And then wrap your elbows down towards your hips and your thighs so that your collarbones can open, that your shoulder caps move down towards the mat. Find your breath. If having the leg really straight is hard to do, then you can take little breaks, but then go right back into it. And give yourself rest, but keep that dedication towards extending the leg. You might now start extending the right leg a little bit more, maybe a lot bit more. If the right leg does get mostly straight, start to push out through the soles of both feet. So you're reaching out through that right foot as well, which is opening up the front of your right hip. Big breath in. Big breath out. Relax that right leg. You might draw the foot in a bit. It's up to you. You're going to move both ends of the strap into your right hand, left hand to the left hip. Turn your knee and toe out to the left, and then drag the heel across the body just a couple of inches. Like maybe it makes it a foot over, but less is more here. You really want to feel the outside of this thigh opening up. Big inhale. Big exhale. And lifting up. And release the strap from your foot. Take the strap out. Bring your knees into your chest. Give yourself a little rock around. Just doing whatever feels good. And then start to rock yourself head to tail until you come up to a seat. If you feel good sitting up on a pillow whenever you're folding forward, go ahead and grab it again. We're going to do this forward fold once more using the strap. So take your left leg in, take the strap and loop it around the bottom of your right foot. And you want to try to get the right leg straight. I'm going to wrap up my hands just as like I do on the floor. And then I'm going to let my shoulders pull back as my heart lifts up and forward. And maybe you're here, maybe you're here, just working on extending the spine. Maybe you're reaching all the way forward and really pulling yourself in. And it's okay if the spine starts to round as long as it feels all right in the back. But you want to still feel like your heart is leading you forward. Right? So I'm not curled back here. I'm really leaning forward from the center of my heart space. I'm using the strap to increase the intensity, lengthening that front leg. Big breath in. Big breath out. And start to release. Unwind your hands. Release the foot from your strap. We'll go to the other side. Taking the left foot forward. Now lasso the bottom of that foot. Wrap up your hands if that's helpful to you. Find length in your spine. Even if you're back here, maybe you start to come forward, and I come forward as much as I can with my spine, as long as I can. And then once I'm forward as much as I can, it's okay to round a little bit as long as it feels okay in the low back, as long as I'm still leading with an open heart. Big breath in. Big breath out. Start to lift yourself up. Release the strap. Unwind it from your leg. You can set the strap off to your side. You're going to take the right knee up now. Go ahead and hook your elbow around your thigh. Take your right arm back behind you. Lift your left toes so the left leg is still straight and strong. Lift your heart And then soften your belly as you twist back towards the right. One more inhale. One more exhale. Relax your twist. Slide the right leg out and bring the left leg in just as much as it's comfortable to you. You'll try to hook the elbow. It's fine if you end up hooking the hand, the wrist. Leave the right toes lifted. Lift from the backs of your ears. Get long and tall. And then soften the belly as you twist over towards the left side. One more round of breath. When you release that exhale, unwind your twist, unwind your legs. We're actually going to swing them back behind. Coming into table pose, feel free to put any sort of padding underneath your knees that would be kind on your body. And then moving through a few cat and cow. Maybe you're feeling a little bit more of a side to side or a circling motion in your spine today. Just honor that. Move with what feels good to you. Give yourself about another 3 breaths. If you're ready to find stillness, that's fine. If you need to even things out, even them out. And then start to release that movement. You're just going to take your right leg out to the right side about even with your hip. Turn your toes up. We're getting some deep hamstring movement here, hamstring stretching right on this inner thigh line. And if this feels good, you might stay here. You might go down onto your left forearm. You might go down onto your right forearm. Probably the hips are sliding over the left a little bit. Maybe you wiggle that right heel out a little bit more and then send your hips back away from your torso, back away from your rib cage. One more exhale. And then if you were down on the hands, just slowly start to lift yourself up. We're going to switch legs, taking one back and then extending the left leg out. Try to turn your toes to face up. If that really doesn't work on your ankle or in your hip joint, it's fine to have the toes facing down. It's a subtle difference. Find your breath. Maybe going down onto your right forearm, maybe down onto your left. You might have been able to go down on both forearms on the other leg, and now you can't on this one, or vice versa. And just, bodies are not symmetrical. All human beings were not created equal in our bodies, and our bodies were not created equal from side to side. It's just how it works. Just created equal in the body, though, just physically. One more round of breath. And start to work yourself back up on your hands. We're going to come in with both legs and then come down to laying on your belly. Make a pillow for your head with your hands. Rest one side of your head or your forehead, whatever seems good to you. Let your pelvis wiggle a little bit side to side. Coming back to your breath and the softness. And then start to bring your hands up by your lower ribs. Make sure your toes are wiggled back behind you as far as they can go. Try to push down into the tops of your feet so your legs are a little bit more fired up. And then pull the elbows back as you slide your heart forward into cobra pose. Feel this opening of your collarbones. And then exhale, soften the heart down. Again, inhale, let the heart reach out and forward, elbows pull back. Exhale, soften the heart down. We'll do 3 more. You might lift your hands up or you might come up to fingertips. It's up to you if you do any of these. Try to keep the legs long, the heart opening, the collarbones broadening. 1 more. Exhale, lower. And then push down into your hands. Lift your hips up off the floor, your heart up off the floor. Curl your toes under, press back to downward facing dog. We'll eventually come to standing. So if that's where you need to go now without spending some time in downward dog, that's what you do. If you need to push down a little bit more in the backs of your armpits, remind yourself to be strong behind the heart and strong in the fingertips. Try to walk through your heels a little bit just to release the calf muscles. If you're here or from wherever you are, take a big breath in and then big loud sigh, just let it go. And then with the feet coming towards the hands and the hands coming towards the feet, just bring yourself back to standing. Take your time. Once you are up and standing, we're going to do a little bit of standing balances, a little bit of standing work, a little bit of standing balances. So knowing that we're going to be doing some balancing, if you want to come closer to a wall, you might do that. We're going to start off with some footwork. So we're just going to take the right foot and you're going to bring it back behind you just a little bit so that you can take your heel and rest it down. And then lift your heel up, bringing your weight back to the left foot. And then you rest the heel down and then lift the heel up. I'm kind of just shifting the weight on and off of my right foot. If this is going well, if you have a more flexible foot, you can shift the weight up so that you come onto the toenail side of your foot and then roll it back down, and the toenail side and roll it back down. And this is balance work because we're not using our feet the way we normally do. So we're going to get this a little bit more intense perhaps by coming up to warrior 3. But this foot that we've been working, this is going to be our standing foot. So come to stand on your right foot. And after having done all of that work, we've kind of made it a little bit more flexible, adaptable. It might be easier to balance on. So take your left toes back, reach your arms back, reach your heart forward and let the heart reach forward to lift your back leg up. And it might only lift up that much. Maybe you do come parallel towards the floor. Keep this strong, extended flying motion in your upper body, reaching those fingers back. Maybe you lift your inner thighs to try to get those the hips a little bit more level. And then come back up, set your feet down, wiggle things out a little bit. But 90-degree, that parallel to the floor, not necessary. This is still a very challenging balance, and it's really opening up that chest space. Yeah? So for now, so stand on your right foot. You're going to take the left foot back just so that you can lower your heel down and then lift the heel up. And you just keep switching the weight on and off of that back foot, just kind of massaging the sole of the foot and the ankle warmed up. Maybe, and it's just optional if it works for you, or if you're interested in the challenge, you might come forward to coming onto the toenail side. So you really curl that toe under. Really articulating the foot, getting every little bit in there. And then come forward, step on the left foot. Now we're going to use that as our supporting leg, as our flexible, open, balancing leg. Reach the right foot back, reach the arms back, the heart goes forward. Maybe the toes are just barely resting on the floor. Maybe they're barely lifted. Maybe you do come forward. Keep thinking of lifting from the inside of both hips. Continue your breath. Continue opening and leading with the heart. 1 more breath in. Exhale. Come back to standing, set things down, wiggle them out. And then we're going to come into wide legs on your mat. Okay. I'm going to turn the right toes out to the right, turn the left toes in, come into warrior 2. Relax your shoulders down away from your ears. One more breath in. Exhale. And start to move from warrior 2 into warrior 1. So you're going to start to turn your hips to face forward, probably hop your left foot out to the left a little bit, and then lift your arms up. If it's comfortable, try to bring your hands towards each other and then press the palms up. And then feel your heart pressing up to your hands. Feel your heart moving forward. Big stretch to the front of the back hip or front of the left hip. Big inhale. Exhale. Release the arms. We're going to straighten both legs. Take your hands behind your back. You can hold hands with yourself, or you can hold on to opposing elbows, or you can put your hands in your hips. Find a place that's relatively soft, but still a gesture to open the heart. And then take your nice soft heart forward, open above your right toes. And you keep the legs strong and the heart opening, the breath strong. One more full round of breath. And start to lift yourself up. Release your arms. Just bringing the feet in somewhere that's more comfortable to you. And then finding a steady space for a moment. And then bring the legs out wide again, finding warrior 2 over towards the left side. So all the way over and then in a little bit, bend into that left leg, line it up with the left foot, take the arms out. Feel the back body lifting. The backs of the ears lift up, the tailbone releases down. Broadening the collarbones. Finding maybe something new in this warrior 2, something to tune into. Last exhale. And then changing it to warrior 1. So you're going to make your stance a little bit wider, turn all the way over towards the left leg, take the arms up. Maybe you interlace the fingers or turn the palms up on their own and feel this pressing from the heart up towards the hands. This lengthening, this opening in the front of the right hip. A little bit different than we usually do it. One more inhale. And then exhale, release your hands. You're going to straighten both legs. You still want to try to keep both hips forward. Take the hands, either hold them behind your back, nice and relaxed, hold the hips, or reach back to hold your wrists so your elbows will take the heart forward over the front foot. Try to lift those inner thighs, gently squaring the hips, finding your breath. Good. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. Start to lift yourself up. Release your arms. Bring your feet back in towards each other. Have a little wiggle. We're going to take the arms up, interlace your fingers, press your palms up towards the ceiling, and reach those palms all the way up. Bring your feet in together so that the big toe edges touch. We're going to lift up as you inhale. Exhale, side bend towards the right. Push down more into your left foot. And then inhale back up to the center. Exhale, side bend to the left. Push down more in your right foot. Inhale to the center. Exhale, side bend to the right. Push down in the left foot. Inhale up. Exhale, side bend to the left. Push down in the right foot. You might feel a little bit longer on this last round. Up and over to the right. And then up and over to the left. And up. Exhaling, releasing the arms down. So we're back to our last standing balance. We're going to try to work into standing splits. And the thing with standing splits, one, it's a huge balance, and we don't usually think about it being a balance, but you're upside down. Like your body's not used to operating that way. My couch is right here. You could just walk right over to your couch and use your couch as the place you put your hands. And that might make a little bit more sense because sometimes the block is a long ways away. And if you have 2 blocks or like a chair in front of you, a milk crate or something, you can always use that. So we're going to start off in a fold because really standing splits is taking one leg and splitting it away from a fold. It's not about getting like a full 180 degrees. It's about getting into this standing leg and folding in towards that. So feet maybe just a little bit wider than your hips, not much, but just a little bit to give space for the pelvis to fold forward. And then you're going to put your hands on something that is comfortable for you. And then if your ego says, no, I should be lower than this, you tell your ego that it can politely just hush up. And you're going to come down into a place that is reasonable for you. Like, okay, this is a place I can fold. This is a place I can breathe. So far, so good. And then we're going to begin the act of splitting the right leg up into the air. So I'm going to move my hands a little bit over towards the left. Maybe I move my object if it's very small. And then I want to just practice bringing my weight onto the left foot. Maybe I just bring the right toes behind me. Maybe I lift them up a little bit. Try to reach the heart out, keeping the spine long. Maybe you do get the leg up. You can even bend that lifted leg. And the closer you get your torso, the more you can lift that right leg up. And if you start to feel a little dizzy, take the foot down, maybe lift yourself up. Head above your heart. And then give it another try. Like give it a repeat. I hope you've all given yourselves a moment just to kind of get the blood back into the places of the body it's more used to being in. And then try to come into this again. So you're going to come down, you're going to bring the weight into your left foot again, and you're going to split that right leg away. And maybe that's where you split it up. Maybe you're just working on getting the torso in towards this standing leg. But the more I get the torso towards the standing leg, the more room I have to lift that other leg up. And it doesn't have to be a long visit, it doesn't have to be a high visit. And then you'll come back to lifted, gently all the way up. Just give yourself a moment, again, the blood to get back in the spaces it's used to being and make sure that we've still got our breath. It's a lot in this leg, right? In this leg that we've just been standing in, there's a lot of hamstring work that gets in there. But you do, in order to get that back leg up, if that's where you're going towards, you have to get your torso in towards your leg because there's a limit to how much you can lift your leg if the torso is not going down. So come on into that fold. Bend the knees. They don't have to be totally straight. There's plenty of other things we do to get the legs totally straight. Something that's going to make our hamstrings overworked or our hips overworked is not the place that we need to get the legs totally straight. So you're going to bring yourself a little bit more over towards that right leg. So you've got yourself right over that focal point, that balance point. And you want to practice bringing the weight onto the right foot. See how that feels. Maybe you take the left toes back and practice taking the weight off of those toes entirely. And then maybe you lead with the heart forward and take the leg up a little bit. You could bend it. You could just focus on getting the heart in closer towards that standing leg. And then give yourself a rest. Bring your hands back up so that your head is up higher than your heart. You don't have to give yourself the rest, of course, exactly what I'm saying to, but just make sure you give it so that we can come at it again. And like the second batch of pancakes when the pan's warmer and they just come out a little bit better, like that perfect crispy edge if you're into that. Ooh. So bring the weight back to your right foot, feel that left leg lift up. Like I can only get my leg up so far away from my torso, but if I take my torso down more, my leg goes up and it doesn't matter how high your leg gets up. Once you feel like you've had enough, both feet come down. Slowly bring yourself up to standing. And then just with your feet comfortably underneath your hips, reach your arms up. They can be wide. They don't have to be close in together. Just feel your hips lifting up, your heart lifting up. Reach your fingertips up, maybe even lift up the corners of your mouth. Feel a full breath in. As you exhale, bringing your hands down towards your heart. We're just gonna come down towards the seat. So take yourself down to your mat. If you like to sit up on anything, I'm gonna grab my pillow and then come down. Feet closer together, knees more open. Might do some manual adjusting of flesh. Finding a place where you can come down, where your heart can just gently melt towards your feet. We just did very intense postures. I'm going to take it down a little bit for a moment. Let this cobbler's pose, this bound angle pose, just be a space for you to feel relaxed in your breath. One more breath in and breath out. And start to lift yourself up. You're going to take your right leg extended out and bring your left foot in. And we're going to take another forward fold. This one's a little bit wider than some of the one-legged folds that we've been doing. So with this wider space in the leg bones, sometimes there's more room in the hips. And you don't have to be perfectly squared over this leg. Just come over in this direction as much as is comfortable to you. Think of your lower back being wide and relaxed. Go for like medium intensity. You're warmer, you've already done a lot of really deep hamstring work, so there might be room to go a little bit further than you have at other points in this pose. And maybe not, and then you just breathe into the space exactly where you're at. Take 2 more breaths. And then start to walk your hands back in. You're going to take your right arm down on the inside of your right leg, walk it out as much as it will reasonably go without too much effort or worry. And then take your heart open, reaching your left arm up and over your nose, releasing the left hip down. Maybe you lift your right toes to make the right leg a little bit more strong as you reach out perhaps a little bit further over it. Inhaling, soften into your exhale, and start to lift yourself up and start to switch the legs. So you'll take that right leg in, extend your left leg out. You can let it be soft, doesn't have to be intense. If you make the leg a little bit stronger, it'll get more intense, so that's up to you. You're going to turn your body gently a bit towards this leg, and then walk your body out over. Finding a place you can still breathe. It's got whatever intensity you want to put into it. Maybe there's room for a little bit more gentle effort. Few more breaths. And then start to lift yourself up. You're going to take the left arm on the inside, walk it out as far as it will go reasonably. Open your heart up. Keep your heart open as you take your arm up and over your nose, reaching up towards your toes. Maybe this left leg extends and gets stronger as the toes lift. Releasing your right hip down. Big breath in. Big breath out. Start to come on up. And then we're going to bring both legs back in. So we want to find the strap, because you're probably going to use it. If you can comfortably hold on to your foot, you might do that. Even if you are like, I don't think I need a lot more room on my strap, you're going to start off with your strap really close. So I want you to have your hands as close to your foot as you can get it. I'm going to turn to the side, You can see how much I'm going to challenge myself to keep my spine open. Just pick a leg and start with it. Maybe start on the one that you're not quite so confident in Heron pose with, and then you can end on the leg that you're really happy about, and you just kind of end up on a good note, because don't we all need that? And this leg's just wherever it's comfortable to you. Sometimes having front feels better. For many of us, having it folded in by the body just has this more together foundation that's a little bit easier to balance on. Totally up to you. You're going to take the strap. I want you to hold it as close as you can get it to your foot, because as you lift up and then start to extend your foot out, it's way easier to let your hand slide on the strap. Now, your leg doesn't need to get totally straight. Think of your foot extending out away from you and your heart lifting up towards your foot. You see how there's more of that heart lifting up towards the foot? My leg's not even totally straight. I'm lifting and shining my puppy bird heart up towards my toes, this heron pose, feeling all of that big open-hearted space, even in big open hamstrings. Maybe one more breath in. And then let that foot come back in towards the body and release it down. And then coming to the other side. So you'll switch to fold one leg in. Maybe you take the strap around the bottom of your foot. And we're going to lift the spine up, lift the foot, and then let the foot take flight, and it moves away from your body. It can be over there, but don't let your heart be back here. Now lift your heart up towards your foot. Same kind of action, broadening the collarbones. The bird poses have the puppy bird chest. That strong, open-hearted space taking you into flight. Big inhale. Exhale. Bending into the knee, drawing that foot back to you. Yeah, that strap around. Go ahead and take it off to your side. And then coming off of your pillow, setting that away from you. Of course, if you need it for Shavasana, make sure you can grab onto it. We're going to come down onto our forearms now. Taking fish pose, so we move from the aerodone into the seat, wiggle until your tailbone faces towards the floor, and then push down into your forearms, feeling your heart floating up again. The heron pose, the heart took flight to lead us. In fish pose, the heart floats up with lightness. One more inhale. Exhale, let that heart soften down, let the elbows widen, come down onto your back. If you need to grab something for Shavasana, please do. And then come down, knees into the chest, giving yourself a little rock. Relaxing side to side. And then open your knees up more, open your feet up, reach up to hold onto your shins or your ankles or your feet. Maybe you hold your hands at the backs of your knees. Feel free to rock around a bit if that feels good to you. We did a lot of hamstring work, so sometimes it feels kind of nice to extend one leg as you roll over the other side. And extend another leg as you roll over the other side. Just kind of being curious about what's there. Not feeling like you have to get the leg straight or that you even have to do this. Let your happy baby be a joyous release for you. When you feel like you've had about enough of that, go ahead and release your feet. Bring your knees back towards each other. Give yourself a little squeeze together. And from here, starting to work into a twist. Open the arms. Let the knees roll over towards your right. Push a little bit in the back of your right arm so that you can roll the left shoulder towards the floor, even if it doesn't come anywhere near it. Once you find that little bit more space, relax into that space. Let your belly get softer and squishier every time you breathe out, just releasing yourself into this rotation. One more breath in. Breathing out. And starting to take your legs up. Moving your knees over to the other side. Push down a bit in the back of your left arm so that you can roll that right shoulder a bit more open once you find that space. Soften into that space. One more round of breath. And start to take yourself out of the twist, coming onto your back, finding the middle, finding neutral. Let your knees knock against each other. As you're ready, begin to extend your legs out if that's how you prefer to take Shavasana. Maybe bring the arms down by your sides. You could take this moment to gently wiggle the shoulder blades underneath the heart, allowing the heart to be more buoyant. Finding a space that is comfortable to rest for you, which might mean that you grab a blanket, stick something underneath the thighs. You might take a seated meditation, do something altogether different entirely. Find a place where you can find softness. Can you find the same intention in your moments of rest? Seeing the ways in which these moments of reflection and softness also serve these good intentions. Enjoy. Start to come back to your body. Breathing a bit deeper, maybe moving your fingers and toes. Eventually bending your knees and moving yourself over to one side. And as you curl inwards, offering yourself gratitude for your practice and all of the good efforts you've made towards these intentions you've set today and all days. And then start to find a comfortable seat. Prop yourself up however it feels good to you. I was telling a colleague a couple of months ago about the chop wood, carry water analogy for tapas, and she said, oh, my teacher once said that to me differently. She said, chop wood, carry water, get enlightened, chop wood, carry water. And I like that because it just goes to show how much we have to keep applying ourselves to this. In small victories, it's easy to become complacent, like, oh, okay, well, I did some of it at least. And then in small failures, it's easy to get discouraged. And then there's continuous small failures. Like I had a mom friend who said, I think cleaning your house when you have small children is like brushing your teeth while eating Oreos. I think we still got to keep cleaning our house. And most of all, we have to act like it is powerful to radically transform the world, to radically transform ourselves, and we have to do it all of the time. Bring your hands towards your heart. And take a big inhale for the sound of Om. Bowing down to the love and light that resides within each of our hearts. Namaste. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thanks.
Thank you.
You have good days, everybody. Let me know if you have questions, comments, requests.
What's that on the wall behind you, around the banner, the painting?
Bye.
Air plants and tea lights.
Very nice.
They're not real tea lights.
Good.
Yeah, but even still, I like the idea.
Thanks. Yeah, it's fun.
It works really nicely with the. Is that fabric that you have hanging, or is that fabric, right?
Tapestry. Yeah.
Yeah. It looks good. Looks good with that. That was a great idea.
Thanks.
Very nice.
It's been fun.
Ah,
Cool.
I'm inspired. I just discovered that my cat, when I get down on the floor, takes a moment of her sleep time to come down. So apparently she's spending all her time waiting for me to get on the floor. Who knew?
Yep. The dog does that too.
Gee, I guess it's true. You know, we're up here all the time. It's nice being down on the floor with them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. My puppy expects me to be on the floor a lot. Yes.
Ah, yeah. I got to spend more time on the floor, apparently, myself. Have a good one, everybody.
Thank you, April.
Thank you.
It was wonderful. Later, alligators.
Have a
Bye.
good